Gaurav Sawant is live with me. Gaurav, this is this is unsettling. This is pretty disturbing, but a big update that we have for our viewers. The Indian Embassy has just asked all Indian nationals in Kharkiv, which you were pointing to, Gaurav, to leave as quickly as possible by 6 p.m. local time where you are.
Shiv, you're absolutely right. This advisory has just come up from the Indian Embassy here in Ukraine, asking all Indian nationals, all Indian students to leave Kharkiv by 6 p.m. today. Shiv, what we are being told, again, this is through sources, that there is a train waiting. There is a lull in the firing. There is a train which will permit all foreigners to leave. All foreign students can leave, men, both male and female. This is information that we are getting, that students should leave as quickly as possible and they should go to the cities mentioned. From there, they should make their way, to safety. That is what we are being told at this point of time, because fighting after 6 p.m. is only set to intensify and perhaps be taken to, be taken several notches higher. Similarly, there is a similar warning which is coming through local channels on local network for people in Kiev to be extremely careful. Later this evening, things could, take a turn for the worse. We've also been told that being in Kiev may not be advisable at this point of time. Suburbs probably out of harm's way, most probably is the best course of action. Is that an indication, Shiv, that while defenses are being put by locals here, a bigger assault is expected? Is that also an indication that the talks that are happening may not yield the kind of results that the Russian President Vladimir Putin or the Ukrainian President Zelensky are hoping for, and there may be major escalation in conflict in hours ahead as far as Kharkiv is concerned, and maybe more than hours and days ahead for Kiev, Shiv?
There are 3 or 4 pieces to this story, Gaurav, and I want to put all of this into context and get your view on each and every one of them. Number 1, Naveen, the young Indian student, tragically killed yesterday in Russian firing. Number 2, you've got the Russian ambassador saying that death is going to be investigated. His body is still not left Ukraine. It should be making its way back to India very soon. Number 3, the Russian ambassador said that they've received a formal request from India to try and get safe passage for Indians in Kharkiv via the Russia route, because it is just 40 kilometers away. And now you've got this embassy advisory, Gaurav, saying get out of Kharkiv as quickly as possible by 6 p.m. local time where you are. This means a couple of things, Gaurav. A, the images of the destruction today have alarmed the government enough for them to issue, probably their most urgently sounded advisory so far in the last few days concerning Kharkiv. And number 2, that route through Russia appears to be untenable at this point of time, because that is perhaps the most militarized area right now.
It is the most militarized area, and there is no commitment from what we've been told that's coming from the Russians whether Indian students will be safe. That is the safest and the closest, in the sense that the Russian border is only 40 kilometers, as you put it, from the city center. So in case students are given that safe passage, they can take that exit. But Shiv, they cannot walk that 40 kilometers. That's the nightmare. There are no buses. We were speaking to students both in Kharkiv and in Sumy. There are no buses to take them to either Kiev or anywhere out of harm's way. But now this information that is coming in, of course, subject to verification, is the availability of trains. Now, again, like I'm saying, it's subject to verification because there is a lot of information that's floating in public domain. When students call me or seek information, we try and cross-check every bit from the Indian mission or from certain people who are handling that evacuation or attempting to help with that evacuation here in Ukraine, that you bring children from point A to point B, from point B get them in a bigger group, then move them to point C, and then get them to Kiev and put them on trains to Lviv and see whether they can leave by the Poland border or the Hungarian border and elsewhere. whoever is making it to Kiev is actually successfully making it out of here. But some of these students trapped in Kharkiv and Sumy, getting them out is really easier said than done, given the intense shelling, fighting that's taking place, which is unfortunately likely to intensify in post 6 p.m., post 1800 hours today, Shiv.
You know, Gaurav, this is alarming, but I want to be as sensitive as possible because parents in their thousands will be watching our coverage right now. This is perhaps the most urgently worded advisory that's come out from the Indian Embassy. I just want to read out that advisory so that all of our viewers have a clear sense. I don't want to paraphrase it. Let me read it out. This is from the Indian Embassy in Kiev. Indian Embassy in Kiev. It says, "This is an urgent advisory to all Indian nationals in Kharkiv. For their own safety and security, they must leave immediately the city. Repeat, immediately. In light of the deteriorating situation, they should proceed to Pesochin, Babaye and Bezlyudovka as soon as possible for their safety. Under all circumstances, they must reach these settlements by 6 p.m. today." That's a big thing. You know, very specifically, Gaurav, they've listed 3 safe zones apparently. The 3 safe zones are Pesochin, Babaye and Bezlyudovka. 3 cities or towns which are considered safe zones for Indian students, but they've been told very, very pointedly under all circumstances to reach there by 6 p.m. Gaurav. This is obviously there is a very, very elevated threat perception now on what may be happening next.
Oh, absolutely, Shiv. It can't get more urgent than this. India and Ukraine, all caps, this message going out, asking them to move out and get to Pesochin, Babaye and, Bezlyudovka, telling them to get there as quickly as possible and latest by 6 p.m., latest by 1800 hours Ukraine time, because whatever lull we are witnessing, and you were speaking to that journalist on ground in Kharkiv, we are told there is a lull, and this lull is to enable foreigners to leave, enable students to leave and be out of harm's way. We are also trying to speak to students in Kharkiv and in Sumy to figure out whether they've been able to leave, whether there's anything available for them to leave, whether trains are a means to leave. All of this will be known in some time from now. But this is a short window of opportunity that these students have with whatever they can take, because local time is already almost 1400 hours. It's 13:51, it's 1:51 in the afternoon, and they have to leave by 6 p.m. So it's a 4-hour opportunity from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock that these students have to get out of harm's way, Shiv.
Gaurav, I'm going to keep coming back to you. This is a very big development. The Indian government has just issued an advisory via its embassy to all nationals in Kharkiv, which has been repeatedly struck by Russian fire since last night, since yesterday, as a matter of fact. And they've asked them to get out of the city under all circumstances in light of this deteriorating situation. Now, Kharkiv is under very, very aggressive siege. Today is day 7. It's been repeatedly pounded. These are some of the images that have been coming in over the last 24 hours. India has lost 1 student already. Air Force troops from Russia have apparently landed in the larger city area, and a fierce battle for the city has begun. Meanwhile, back-to-back explosions in the heart of the city have brought Kharkiv perhaps to its knees. Is the city about to fall next to Russia's invading forces?